Sunday was another sad day in San Francisco. 2 more Walgreens stores closed up shop. Another location will close later this week. These are among a string of closings in the city. 22 Walgreens have closed already due to the effective decriminalization of shoplifting in the state. A representative from one of the local Walgreens branches in the city said in a statement to ABC, quote, "Due largely to ongoing organized retail theft, we have made the difficult decision to close 5 stores across San Francisco, 5 more stores anyway. Each store will transfer prescriptions to a nearby Walgreens location within a mile radius, and we expect to place the store's team members in other nearby locations. Organized retail theft continues to be a challenge facing retailers across San Francisco, and we are not immune to that. Retail theft across our San Francisco stores has continued to increase in the past few months to 5 times our chain average." Now, Walgreens is not the only chain affected. A Safeway location in the city was recently forced to cut its hours due to off-the-charts, quote-unquote, shoplifting. Now, that store had been open 24 hours, but it's just not possible to run a 24-hour operation in a city where theft is legal. I mean, we've seen how bad it could be in the middle of the day. Now imagine 3 a.m., how bad it must be. So now that store will close at 9 p.m. each night, which means lots of employees at that location will, we can assume, lose their jobs. A Target store also closed recently for the same reason. And it's not just big chains being slammed either. Every day, it seems, there's another video of somebody walking into a random local store somewhere in the city and walking out with armfuls of merchandise. Here's the latest footage from some boutique shop in town. We'll watch this. Okay, so the guy walks in. He gets a nice greeting from the woman running the store. Kind of looks around like he's shopping, and he is shopping in a certain way. Yeah, why not grab all the jeans? Just grabs a whole stack of jeans. I mean, most of those won't fit him, but yeah, and then grabs some other clothes and walks right out. And then you always see the impotent employee walking after the person has left. The employee shows up in the frame on the phone. Who are you going to call? The Ghostbusters? There's no one to call here. No one's going to arrest that guy. No one's going to prosecute him. And the cops won't arrest him because he's not going to be prosecuted. And we know this problem is not contained to San Francisco. Similar scenes have unfolded in Chicago, Miami, New York, Los Angeles. All of these cities have cut back on or entirely given up on prosecuting so-called nonviolent criminals, which has given those criminals the green light to do what they do best. Shocking result here. Apparently, when you don't prosecute certain crimes, you get more of those crimes. Now, these videos are generally shared by people who are outraged by what they see. And I understand the outrage. It offends us to see scumbag criminals running amok, doing what they please with no consequence. We want to see them punished. And that is a good and properly ordered desire. It's a desire for justice. And we should desire that. But what we should not feel is any sympathy for the quote-unquote victims here. As mean as it might sound to say it. Now, it's good to feel sympathy generally. That's a good instinct to have. But we need to get past that in this case. Because we have to remember that the people of California quite literally asked for this. So yes, I am victim blaming. Very often, victim blaming is appropriate. Very often, we find that in many types of situations, the victims deserve, the quote-unquote victims have a certain amount of the onus falls on them as well. And that is certainly the case here. Because they went to the polls, the people of California did, and they voted on a ballot initiative to effectively decriminalize shoplifting. So this wasn't even a case of voting for some crazy left-wing politician who then goes and puts these policies in place. That's the way it's worked in some of these other cities. And there, the citizens are getting what they asked for too. But in California, the proposal was on the ballot. They selected it. They chose it. They said, yeah, that sounds good. I want that. They sowed and now they reap. It sounds not only harsh, but perhaps nihilistic to say that we should simply sit back now and let the left-wing cities burn. But it's not nihilistic at all. It's the opposite, really. We are letting people experience the consequences of their own actions. We are letting them discover that their actions matter, their choices matter. And that is not nihilism. We are letting them have what they chose. We are allowing them to take their nice-sounding liberal theories and experience them in reality. They're learning the hard way, because that's the only way they will learn. if they ever do at all. And this is one of the reasons why I don't understand the conservatives who were very eager to get a Republican elected as governor in California. It was probably never going to happen, and it probably never will happen at this point. But there are a lot of Republicans that were they wanted to get Larry Elder in there. They wanted a Republican. But why should we want that? Why should we want a Republican sitting at the top of this dung heap? Why should we want a Republican overseeing a collapsing system? No, California is a left-wing dystopia. It's everything that happens when leftists are allowed to do as they please. Why should we want a Republican anywhere near that? He can't save California. Why should he try? See, leftism proliferates in part because the people who support its policies and ideas have rarely been allowed to experience them in their fruition. We have been saving them from themselves. We've been standing in the gap, largely because we have to live in this society too. It's one thing for them to reap their fruits. It's another for us to reap them too. But as the sane people flee the dystopian hellscapes like California, there is now finally an opportunity for us to say, okay, have it your way. Do as you please. I wish it didn't have to be this way, but it does. Let them lay in the bed they've made. Let California become everything they want it to be, so that maybe they can discover that they never really wanted it at all. I think that's the only way forward now. It's the only way. And that's why I must say that San Francisco and California are, by their own doing, officially canceled. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.